So,
Right. I think we're going to get started. So thank you everybody for joining us today on this cold winter, spring. I don't know what season we are in, evening. So hope, hope all of you grabbed pizza. So before we get started, for anybody who's new here, I'm Kritika Dharmarajan. I help co-lead the developer group with Karan. I'm currently part of Slalom. I work as a principal there and have been part of the Salesforce ecosystem for about 13 years now. Would love to connect with anyone over here, and then I'll pass it to my colleague, Karan.
hey, hi everyone, this is Karan. So I'm running this group from 2015 in Toronto. I'm really happy to see so many familiar faces in this group. You can chat me in LinkedIn, or if you'd like to present any upcoming sessions, if you like to present any topic, feel free to reach out to me.
Yes, we're always looking for presenters. This is a very cozy crowd. Easy way to practice your presentation skills. If you want to present in TDX presenter here, or
This is the same presentation.
Dreamforce, this is a good platform to practice in. So feel free to come up and raise your hand and ping us in LinkedIn or our group, and you can present. Thank you again. And over to our star speaker, Shreyas. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks, Kritika and Karan. Yeah. So,
Round of applause and welcome to it. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah. So, welcome everyone. First of all, thanks for coming here. So today we are going to discuss custom apps on Einstein1 platform. So just a quick note that please base your decisions or your product decisions based on generally available products, because today we'll be discussing some beta products. So don't make your decision based on that, but keep that in mind. And I would like to start with a huge thank you, first of all, for coming here and taking the time to join this group. So this group kind of kicked off again last year around October, and we are looking for like more speakers, more engagement. So we try to keep at least bi-monthly events going to engage the group and then share some interesting topics. So we just introduced us co-leads. So thanks again for organizing and keeping the group going. And then a quick call for speakers again. So if you have any interesting topics or interesting client case that you would like to discuss with the rest of the group, and also practice your presentation skills, and then uh, broadcast yourself to the community, this is a very good avenue. So a bit about myself. I have been in the Salesforce ecosystem for 9+ years. Most of my experience has been in telecom, but I have experience in insurance, oil and gas, retail, and my product expertise is around sales, service cloud, communications cloud. But I do delve into integrations and DevOps and other aspects of the product as well. You can connect with me on that Trailblazer ID. So you can just search for me, and then I'll be happy to connect in the Trailblazer community. Okay, so now we'll get started with the session. So the first questions, as all of you guys must have had, how do I embed generative AI in my applications in Salesforce? So currently, there are a few out-of-the-box use cases available based on the clouds. Most of these are GA, some are beta now, and they will be available soon. So first, you should always look for the out-of-the-box case, because they will be supported, they will have quarterly updates, they will improve. So do always start with that in mind. But there are always cases when you're wondering, we have these capabilities, we can leverage these models, how do I embed them into our custom applications? So uh, that's where this talk is going to give you some insights. So we'll do a little bit of primer. So introduction to prompts, like you have all played with ChatGPT and so on. So with the Gen AI, it's as simple as you're able to generate a prompt, send it to a LLM, and you're able to get a response. And your response really depends on the quality of the prompt. So that's where prompt engineering comes in. So what is a prompt? A prompt is a simple instruction. It can be as simple as writing an email to introduce me as a sales agent to a new lead. This is not a very good prompt, so it's not going to get a very good response. It's going to get a very templated response with a lot of placeholder fields that you will have to further process to make it usable. So not personalized, not efficient. So what? So to order to generate quality prompts, we have a concept of prompt templates. So what are prompt templates? So prompt templates are essentially your containers for your prompt, where you can introduce fields, ground it with data, so that you're sending context-specific prompts to your LLM, and essentially adding that relevant data context to the prompt is called dynamic grounding. So with a well-grounded prompt, you will receive a more personalized response, and it will be like you'll receive with a grounded prompt where you are grounding it with your CRM data and org data. You'll get a very good response. Like for this, in this case, the generated email is very personal. Uh, it doesn't require any post processing. It can be directly used in your workflow. So that's a bit about prompts. So now the question is, next question: how do I protect my data when I'm dealing with prompt templates in Salesforce? And that's where the Einstein trust layer comes in. So what is the Einstein trust layer? So it essentially starts with prompt templates. So prompt templates are your containers for your prompts that you should use when you're dealing in Salesforce. So when you're dealing with prompt templates, you can ground them with data from your CRM, MuleSoft data, and Data Cloud using Flow, Apex, Vector Search, or RAG. So as part of the prompt journey through your Einstein trust layer, it goes through a couple of steps before it goes to the LLM. So there is data masking, which essentially removes any PII, PHI, and any personal data from your prompt. And then there is this additional step of prompt defense, which adds additional instructions on top of your prompt template, so that the LLM doesn't hallucinate and then doesn't provide you risky responses. Once the prompt is generated, it's sent to either an external model. So you can use our out-of-the-box models that are available, like OpenAI, uh, Microsoft Azure, OpenAI, Anthropic, and so on. Or you can bring your own LLM. They are slowly increasing the functionality that is being offered with your own LLM. Currently, you can support OpenAI or Azure OpenAI models only. But in the near future, there should be uh, more LLMs that you can integrate with the Einstein trust layer. And there is Salesforce hosted models as well. So these are more driven around Salesforce data model and code generation and so on. So you can use those as well. For those, the data is stored as and audited as part of the prompt response and prompt generation. As part of the return journey, the first thing that happens is that the response is scored. The response is scored for toxicity, so that we have a good rating of how the response is being generated. Then the data is demasked. Basically, the keys that are stored from the masking, they are replaced with the actual data. There is a feedback framework and an audit trail, which is something that can be leveraged to provide inputs back to the LLM. So to give it uh, training, basically tuning it for better responses. And those generations are then available in your CRM apps and Copilot. So this is the general AI architecture. So your UI layer sits at the top. If you see, there's a new um, box underneath the UI layer. This is your Einstein Copilot. So this is your AI assistant. It comes with a lot of standard actions out of the box, but it can be customized, and we will go through a demo and then actually the back workings of the Copilot to show you how you can customize it. Then you have your uh, generative AI box, which is the model box, which comes with that tools for building your Copilot actions, prompt builder, model builder. Then you have your Einstein trust layer, which we just went through. And then you have your models. And beneath all of it is your data. So your CRM data and your data cloud data and any data you integrate from other systems. And this is all tied together with the unified metadata framework. So it's all deployable with packages. So first tool we'll talk about is Copilot Builder. So Copilot is designed to be a conversational tool. So you can basically, what it does, you have a conversation with it. Based on the conversation, it interacts with the Einstein trust layer and LLM, and then comes up with a plan of action. So you give it a set of actions, and then it will decide what actions it needs to complete your prompt. So based on that plan, then it executes those actions, and then it provides an output. So it's currently in beta, but it's fairly good. And I will go through a real world example in a demo, so you can really see it in action. The next tool is Prompt Builder, of course, which is your uh, gateway to the prompt templates. So Prompt Builder lets you ground your data with CRM, prompt flows, data cloud. Um, then it lets you test and iterate. So you can use the prompt builder to retest your models, tune your templates, add more data, and also tune the model parameters that you're leveraging to generate your prompts. And then obviously you can deploy those prompt templates from one sandbox to another so that they can be reused by other teams or other developers. And the last thing is model builder. So model builder is something you can leverage to tune a model to be more predictive. So right now it's a predictive functionality. So you can harmonize, you can basically provide it data such as inputs and outputs, and then you can give it examples of data, and then allow it to generate a model that is specific to a single task. Uh, like one example is generating a sentiment for a very specific email that you are getting as part of your workflow. So you can generate a specific model builder for that. We won't dive into the model builder too much. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Keep saying predictive, so this is not part of the
No,
generic.
no. Model builder is predictive. So it leverages generative AI, but it's more like you can leverage that to train it to give a precise response based on a generative model. So yeah, for sure, no worries. We won't dive into too much model builder because we as developers, we are more concerned about how we can leverage all that functionality, how we can call it, how we can put it in our custom workflows. But the model builder is one place you can send your data scientists or your data engineers to uh, like provide those finely tuned models that you need for some of your use cases. Okay, so now we are going to dive into what we can do with Copilot and Prompt Builder and Connect API. So Copilot, we have a conversation. It generates a plan of action. It talks to the LLM, and then it provides us a process response. How can we customize it? So we can customize it with custom actions. Custom actions can use the same pro code and low code tools that you currently leverage. So you can use Apex, you can use Flow, and you can use prompt templates to build those custom actions and then add it to the Copilot library for it to decide when you want to use it. And we'll go over an example and a few of those actions on how descriptions and field descriptions are important so that Copilot knows which action to leverage for what purpose.
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Might be a tough question because I've not done my research, but in the beginning you said that some of the features are beta features. So
Mhm.
is Einstein Copilot already launched?
No,
Or
it's a beta feature. It is in a closed beta right now. It will probably like there is a. It's been widely released. You can still go to Trailhead and sign up for a Einstein Copilot org. It's like a 5-day org. You can have it only for 5 days. You can play with it, but it's not released. Yeah.
do you have timeline when it will be?
No, like that is something, that's why I didn't say that it might be released soon. because because even when I was playing with it, it you have to be very specific with your prompts. You have to do your descriptions for your actions and fields properly so that you get the expected result. So I think it's, as it becomes more mature, it will be more something that they will be more comfortable releasing. Yeah. So next part of our customization is how do we leverage all this functionality. So it's like Einstein Copilot is cool. You can have a conversation, you can do some actions, but not all of your custom applications that are built, they will have a conversational workflow. So if you have a workflow that's based on LWCs, or it's a very custom workflow, how do you embed generative AI in it? So that's where Connect API, Einstein LLM workspace comes in. So with that, essentially you can invoke prompt templates from your pro code and low code solutions. So for Flow, you can invoke invocable actions, and with Apex and REST, you can invoke generate messages from prompt template. That lets you build your prompt inputs to prompt templates that already somebody must have created. And this is probably a new role that's coming into play as prompt templates, that are like a prompt engineer. Like, because you, what you want to do is have these prompt templates that are reusable, tuned to a specific task, that are created by this prompt engineer, and then as a developer you can use it using a connect API. So what it does, uh, you provide the prompt inputs, the prompt templates do their thing, they generate a generated prompt, which is then sent to the Einstein trust layer, which comes back with a response, and then that response can be leveraged in your workflow. And then we'll go through some examples in demos so you have a little bit clearer picture. So before we go into action, any questions or any comments? Yeah.
Sorry, if you don't mind, on the previous slide.
Yeah.
So you say in the beginning that the prompt templates can have data clouds, can have a data prompt templates
Yeah.
can get the data, so
Yeah.
it gets grounded with data cloud,
Data cloud.
flow, and Apex. Is this what this is talking about?
No. So this is so data cloud prompt templates grounding. That's part of the prompt template. That's part of the prompt template design. That's part of the prompt template metadata. This is more like, how do you call a prompt template?
Got it.
Yeah. So how do you call a prompt template from code or flow code to invoke it? Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
think that now,
Yeah.
and very like
Yeah.
in the last couple of weeks,
Mhm.
you can actually use
Sorry.
you can actually use Apex to
Yeah.
ground your prompts.
Yeah, you
As
can,
well.
and I will show an example of that too. You can use Apex, flows,
Data cloud.
and data cloud to ground. I won't have a data cloud example. I will show Apex and flows.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Very nice. Any other questions before we dive in? Okay. So meet Samantha. So we are going to use the Dreamhouse app, which is a widely like you can use it. And I have just done some customization on top of the Dreamhouse app for our example. So let me go to that example. So first example we'll do is Samantha is talking to Einstein Copilot. So she's using a Copilot to do certain tasks. So I'm just going to go through a conversation first. I will just copy some prompts. If I mess up the prompts, it doesn't work, so I have to copy it. So first thing I'll do is ask it for to get. So she's basically a sales representative. She's working with a client who is in Cambridge. So she's asking, get me all the properties in the city of Cambridge. So what it's doing is it analyzed the request. It generated a plan of action, and then it gave me a list of properties, list of all the properties. So if I do view more here, I can see all those properties here as well, right? So this was first action. Now we will be a little more specific, and I will quickly go back to my essay. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it searching in the LLM or it's just searching in Salesforce with the data?
Yeah, I will go through that, but it is searching only through Salesforce. It's doing a specific action, which is query records, and it's just it understood the context of what we wanted based on that prompt, and it then added the filter to city of Cambridge. Yeah.
From what I understand, please correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong. You would not gonna be able to search in the LLM because this information is not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
correct.
information
LLM
won't
is
be there.
gonna be used in order to understand the English part of it. What are you asking? And the information needs to go inside the prompt, and that's what the prompt, the template,
Yeah.
template does, right?
Yeah, that's right. But these actions that I am doing, they are all standard. They are
correct.
they are not even prompt template
So
driven.
how does the prompt template work? I think that is the appropriate.
Yeah, and I will show you. Like when I go through some of the prompt templates that are in my demo, then you'll get a good view of how it's doing it. So next thing we did is we are working with a client who is working with a specific realtor, Wendy Wu. So I asked get me all the properties in Cambridge for broker Wendy Wu. So it gave me one property because she has just one property in Cambridge. Now, so so I will go to the background for this, but now I am going to do something custom. So I'm going to ask it to book a visit, and I will make sure I'm copying the right prompt. Book a visit for the client that we are helping to this property, Stunning Conario. So it will go through its same step. It will analyze the request, then it will generate a plan of action, then it will run those actions, and then it will finish up and then give a result. Oh, couldn't schedule a property visit. Please try again later. Okay, let me see. I will try that again. But if that doesn't work, then I have a alternative. But see, that's why it's not released yet. So sometimes it can hallucinate. So this is a working demo. That's why we do it. But yeah, I'm not going to. There's no way of debugging this because all you're doing is sending a prompt. Yeah. So I'm going to try it again. It might not have any context right now, but hopefully it does. Working. Fingers crossed.
But you haven't specified any date or.
But I shouldn't find.
It's not clear, like, where.
Yeah.
Book a visit.
That's the thing. But this is a custom action, so it's always going to do one date. But
The future?
yeah, it's always going to do the next day 1 p.m. Okay, so this was working for a bit, but I will actually go through what's happening in the backend. So this is the Copilot.
Well,
This is
the debugging tool.
yeah, this is the debugging tool. So I have run all these steps as part of the conversation. So if you see, for every prompt, it generates a dynamic plan. So let's see what it did for the first prompt. Get me all the properties in the city of Cambridge. So all it did is query records with the filter of the city of Cambridge and city Cambridge. And then it returned me a list of JSON. That's all it did. So it basically
Did you do these queries before, or are they ones that you just did?
no. This is
This is like the law.
yeah. This is the log. Yeah, the query record is a standard action.
I've seen it to build it and
Yeah.
stuff, but I wasn't sure you could actually get a log from it.
Yeah. So the queries record is a standard action. So it's just returning a result. It's understanding from your prompt that it needs to do a query with the city of Cambridge. Now let's see what happened next. So get me all the properties in Cambridge for broker Wendy Wu.
Yep.
So again, actually this time it did two things. So Wendy Wu is not something understandable by Salesforce. So it needs to first find out the record who is Wendy Wu. So it figured that out. I didn't tell it to figure it out. So it figured it out. I need to run two actions: identify records by name Wendy Wu, get the ID, and then pass it to the query records so that I get only one property as a result.
Did it go twice through the Einstein trust layer and all that stuff?
We don't know. That we are just giving it.
That's the black box.
Yeah, that's the black box for us. It is some like it's definitely using generative AI to figure out what actions it needs to run.
Because how else would it know that
Yeah.
it's broker and
Yeah. The next action is the custom action, which didn't work in our live demo, but it worked. It was working. So here, book a visit for Brad home. So let's see what happened for that. So two actions again. First one is the standard action, identify record by name, because it doesn't know who Brad Holmes is. So it needs to figure out who Brad Holmes is. And then I have this custom action called book property visit. And that's just returning the created property visit. So now let's see what this property visit is. So this is the property visit. It's a custom action that I have created. It's an Apex custom action. And I will go through the code as well. And it has two inputs, actually three inputs: contact ID, property ID, and start time. And then it does an output. It was active. Yeah, it's assigned to the Copilot. Which one?
Below that, you're showing, right?
Yep.
Next, different action taking. No, below that.
Sorry, I cannot.
Yeah, this right.
It started with nothing.
The home, the last one here.
Right there, don't move the
Oh.
mouse, right there.
Let's see why it's inactive.
Good idea.
Shouldn't be even.
It
Good
could
idea.
be.
I don't think that
No,
means
they can't
anything.
gonna turn it off, but maybe
Yeah.
the action itself is turned off.
I will debug that later, but you
Yeah.
will go through. I don't think that
We
means
also-
what it
we
means.
also have it working, don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
So it's a collaborative session.
We also have it working.
But I will go through what we have done here.
Yep.
So before doing all this, let me go to the book property visit. So what is the base of it? It's just a class. All this class is doing, it's an invocable method. It has a method called create property visit. Doesn't matter the method name. It has an input wrapper of those variables that we saw on the Copilot action, and we can specify whether they're required or not. And based on those input, it's finding the contact record, it's finding the property record, and it's creating the property visit. Yeah. And then it's just adding to the output and returning. So coming back to over here, key thing here is these descriptions. So if you see, and I will try to zoom in a bit. If you see the Copilot action instructions, I have given it a basic generic description. Book a property visit for a contact at a property at a given day and time. But I have added some sample prompts. So based on those sample prompts, it knows that it needs to run this action. Book a property visit for a contact on a certain date and time. Book a visit for a contact at a property on a certain date and time, and so on. So it will, even if you give it like a generic, it will figure out that it needs to run this action if a property visit needs to be created.
Roughly speaking, here you're trying to explain.
Yeah, we are actually telling it, if somebody says this, you have to run this action.
How many times?
Many times. Like it only decided to fail just now because it knew people were watching.
And they will have now some basic records for tomorrow, for instance, already created.
Sorry, could you
We
repeat
will
that?
have already in the system some basic records
Yeah.
for tomorrow.
Yeah, I have a lot of visit records. Yeah.
Send it
Yeah.
to work.
Yeah, sure.
What's that time?
I will go
Sometimes
to
we have
property visits. I'll need to go to that property. Give me 1 second. We just have a question that she wants to see a property a visit record. So we're going to show her. Property.
Appointment?
No, it's a related record, so I don't have a tab for it. So I need to go to one of the property. So properties, selling Colonia, and you will see a lot of property visits here that are created.
Wait for remove them and create for that time exactly. If you create it.
Doesn't matter. But there is no duplicate. There is no duplicate rule. It has worked like so many times before.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah. But this is a property visit record that it will create. Right, you saw. Okay. So coming back, the field descriptions are also important, so it knows what to do. So if you see here, contact ID, we are specifying it's a 18-digit Salesforce record ID of the contact for which the property visit is booked for. And we are telling it, pick from context if it's there. If it's not there, run identify record by name to retrieve the ID. So that's why it's, yeah.
What happens if or condition that was
Then it will probably fail. Yeah. So we have to try it. That's why it's in beta. But yeah, go ahead.
So there can be X number of inputs that we do. So
Yeah, you can define as many inputs as you want.
we will need to define these instructions every time.
For every input, you need to define it like this. And based on the how well you have defined these instructions, that the action will work.
Then how to
The user like you're predicting what prompt they would use, and based on that prompt, it's saying that I need for contact ID it needs a 18 digit Salesforce record ID. Yeah, and we are telling it if it's already in context, take it from context, or run the identify record by name.
standard actions which are available?
Yeah, standard actions are available. So standard actions, we cannot see all of this. The, yeah, but that's the cool part. Like you can build something specific to the conversations that your users are having.
That book in real estate property.
Yeah.
Which is only
Which he couldn't.
which is only on real or whatever.
Dreamhouse Realty. Yeah. So same thing. There is no prompt template here. All it says is this Einstein Copilot action and that Apex class. And yeah, and I'm just giving it instructions, and based on that instructions is figuring out. Yeah, and then that's the next thing I will go into. Yeah. So the next two are similar. We are giving it like very specific instructions so that it knows what to do. Same thing here. And then the last thing was start time. We are saying it to convert the date time to ISO date time format. So our Apex can understand it. So it will do that by itself. It doesn't need to figure it out. Okay. Perfect.
Perfect. The user it doesn't say 1 p.m. as you.
Yeah, I changed that.
Maybe that's what
For the
problem.
demo.
Maybe that's what
Maybe.
problem.
Okay. So yeah. And then the last thing here, and this is the prompt template action. So this is also like I'm telling it to generate an email from the property visit. So it will understand it from context. And we'll just go over, and it's going to run this dream house property visit email, which is a prompt template that I will just show you. So this is the action for it. It's a reference, it's a flow action. So we are telling it to call a flow. We are giving it similar instructions, description, so that it understands the context. This is the flow. It's querying three things: the recipient, property visit, get sender, and then it's invoking this prompt action, client, property visit email. And then this is that email. Oh, I need to open it. Give me 1 second. From builder. Dream house client. No, last one. This is that email, client property visit email. So what we are doing, we are saying you're a sales representative at this organization. This is all the grounding. So this is all here. This can be reused in multiple actions. We are giving it the property information, and then we are giving it instruction, keep the language business casual and polite, enter property. And this can be tested right here as well, right? So if you see here, we have this preview window. So here we can actually pass the Brad Holmes contact, and our related record the property visit. So we'll just pick one of them and we'll run preview. And these are the model properties on the side.
Why do you have so many double quotes?
Oh, these just to separate the context. This is something I just found out when I was playing. Yeah. So how do you separate the context for the prompt template to understand what is data versus what is instruction?
Fair.
Yeah. So this is the generated prompt on the left, and then this is the response that is generated, and that response is coming from OpenAI using the OpenAI GPT 3.5 Turbo. Okay, so cool. So that one was the demo for Einstein Copilot. It would have been nice if it had worked on the main screen, but we actually got to see the back, so which was a lot cooler. Yeah. Okay, next. So we'll go back to our slide. So now we are going to, so next thing, now we played with Einstein Copilot, we did Einstein Copilot action, but now how do we leverage this in our custom applications that we have built LWCs, we have built LWC flows.
No borrowing.
Oh, where?
Behind you, there's a power strip with the light.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep. There you go.
Gone. Okay. So
That was not Einstein, right?
no, that wasn't Einstein. Einstein wouldn't know how to plug that in. Okay. So next, we are going to look at some custom applications and how we are generating, integrating prompt templates into them. So the first action is Samantha is just having a call with the client. She's selecting her properties, and then she wants to generate a email for the client. So going back. So we are in the property explorer. So this is again Dreamhouse application. I've just customized it with a few additional actions. So here she's working with Brad Holmes again. She's saying, I want 3-bedroom, 3 washroom properties. She selects 3 properties that are of interest using right click. And then she's calling this custom workflow where I'm just saying this is for Brad Holmes. I'm selecting, going next, giving an overview so she can confirm with Brad Holmes. No, GenAI hasn't come in yet. But now GenAI is coming in. So it's just invoking a prompt template. So we'll just quickly see what's happening in the backend. So in the backend, we have a LWC that's using this Apex class to generate a message from a prompt template. So it's calling the Dreamhouse Dreamhouse interested contact properties prompt template, and it's just passing it the inputs, which are the contact, the 3 properties, and then it's calling the service and it's consuming the response in the LWC. I won't show the LWC code, but I'll quickly show the prompt template. So it generated this email, and as you can see, it's a pretty good email. And you will see how this email, like how none of this is styled, or like I haven't styled any of this. I've just given instructions and then it has generated all this styling. So I'll just send that email and then I'll quickly go to that prompt template. So this is that prompt template. So in this prompt template, I'm saying, I'm just giving it a perspective. It's good to give a perspective to a prompt template, grounding it with the existing user data, the contact name data, the 3 properties and their data. But here there is a custom action. So this is the additional grounding data that I'm getting from Apex. And this is that Apex. So here I'm saying it's an invocable method. Its type is capability type, and it's tied to that flex template, which is the Dreamhouse interested properties contact. So this can be only invoked from that prompt template. And all it's doing is it's going through the three properties, and it's calling a function get similar properties, which all it does is queries based on the tag of the property other properties in the system. So that's what it's adding at the end here. And then I'm just giving it instruction: use clear, concise, straightforward language for processing, use a HTML like this. And for CSS also, I'm saying make sure the thumbnails have a card layout with the border of the card round shape. That's all I told it. And that based on that, it generated that email we just saw. So yeah, yeah, I'll show you. So the input is here, like it's a request. So it's an invocable variable. So it's I'm just bringing it all in one container. So the input is whatever we are passing to the prompt template. So the prompt template takes that flex prompt template. If we just take a look, if you see test record, it takes 4 inputs: contact and the 3 property that we select. Yeah, we can only pass the same information to the Apex class, and then the Apex class can decide what to do with it. Yeah, but yeah, good question. Yeah.
And if you look at you can change this to code and
Yeah, that's something that's not yet available, like list of properties. So that's why I had to do 3 different properties. So that might come in the near future, but right now you can just pass like individual parameter, not a list.
Basically, you don't have a loop.
I'm not sure. Yeah, but you're in prompt when you're creating your prompt template, you cannot.
Can you go back again?
Sure. The prompt template here.
Yeah, right there. How do you know which is property one, property two, or equal property one, equal property two?
Yeah.
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 You don't have a loop.
Yeah.
You got a loop.
Yeah. There's no looping capability yet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Not exactly. Okay.
I think that's what we want.
Mhm.
You can do that. Prompt able to give you
No, like you wouldn't be able to use it in your template because there's no looping functionality. There's no functionality to loop through that list and then generate that JSON payload for each property that we need to ground the prompt template with.
for the standard and
Yeah.
you say that I want a field, any field responses. Will that give you the field responses?
No, but here we are selecting the responses. We are not asking AI to select the response. We are saying these 3 are the properties I'm interested in. I want to create an email with these 3 properties and the related properties. So here we are passing the data. It's a template. Yeah, it's a template. Yeah, you can pass it a specific set of data, and based on that specific set of data, it will figure out what it needs to ground with and generate it. Yeah. So, yeah, structure is not yet. In the future there might be a way of passing lists, but it's not available yet. Yeah, safe harbor. You can have as many properties as you want, but they need to be individual parameters. They are not a list of parameters that can just grow normally. Yeah. No, we have selected 3, and it's showing all those 3 in the email. Then it will ground it with empty data, so it won't even include it. Okay, so we just gave Samantha the ability to, yeah, go ahead. No, you have to pass, yeah, because anything you pass to a prompt template has to be usable. So I will just quickly show you. So if you are going to working with the prompt template, like all these resources are available to you. So you can go to a
You don't have a list of things.
yeah. So you can select any fields or even related lists, and that's the next thing that I'm going to show you. Okay, perfect. So next thing, summarizing property feedback. So let's say we have a property like Sterling Colonial, our favorite property. So we have these fields here. AI generated feedback summary. How are they generating the feedback? So we have this related uh, list on the property, which is the feedback, which basically what source it is from, rating, and then comments. So we are using a flow here, record triggered flow, and we are invoking a prompt template from the record triggered flow and passing it those just passing it that property record, and then it's doing all the magic in the prompt template to figure out those 4 fields based on the property feedback. So how it's doing that, let's see, figure it out. So let's go here. So this is our prompt template, and one cool thing, related property list. So all we did is we have this input property. We go to the bottom, we have all the related list for that property. We just select it, ground it with, we didn't even have to use anything custom here. So prompt template with, which is using the related property list. And then we are just giving it some additional instruction. We're giving it some examples of positive reviews and negative reviews. So this is where the tuning part comes in, because it's not as straightforward. You cannot just rely on it to give you, because you have a certain set of thresholds for your ratings. So you need it to understand those thresholds. So you need to give it some examples. This can be done in model builder if you do it through model builder, or it can be done as part of your prompt template. And then based on that, I'm just saying give me an output in JSON so I can use it in the flow, so that I can just update that property record by parsing the response. That's all.
Only limit of number of characters we can have on prompt.
No published limit right now.
So there's a limit. But you-
Have it like it, we wouldn't probably reach it. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Now, so next thing we did, the client visits a property, he provides us feedback. Then we decided how that feedback is useful to Samantha. So it gives us her a summary of the feedback. So quickly going back, and it gives a pretty good summary. If you compared it with the property feedback that we are receiving, it will give you like exact details, like what kind of ratings that we are getting. And then I've also asked it to do a generated recommendation. So what should we communicate to the seller, what should we communicate to the broker to improve the traffic? So it's giving us a recommendation also. Yeah. Okay, next. So the client visits other properties and has interactions with brokers. So we are going to leverage similar kind of functionality, but we are going to do it through flow, and we are going to provide a health score for the client. So we'll go back to one of our clients, Brad Homes. And if you see on the right side, we have a LWC that's processing, and it gave a health score of 8, and it gave a reason. The client has shown consistent interest in the properties and blah 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 blah, but it gave a good reason. And let's see how it's giving that reason. So for that, we have another flow to blame. Not this one. I will need to, yeah, here. Yeah, so this is the flow. If you see, it's a template triggered flow. So it starts with this template. So we are just invoking that template from LWC. It's coming here. It's saying that you're account executive and you have to give me a late rating for the client. Please use these details that I'm providing to give that rating. And then I'm just giving instructions. Give me a rating from 1 to 10, where 10 is highly satisfied, and then just pass a JSON so I can use it. So it's this prompt template. It's invoking this flow. what is this flow doing? It's a template trigger flow. And if you see, it's similar to our Apex class, where we have this capability, and it's only tied to that Dreamhouse contact health score summary prompt template. So it can be only invoked from there. So all it's doing is getting contact. It has this special component called add prompt instructions. So let's take a look at one of these. So based on what your data you're querying in your prompt template, you can decide what data you want to pass as part of the grounding, as part of this flow. So for contact, it's saying I need name, email, phone. Then it's going through all the events of the contact, and then it's adding all the events. For the events, is saying give me subject, description, type, loop, similar tasks, and then it's going through the cases, adding the case comments and the case feed, and all that information we are passing it to the prompt template. So let's take a quick look at that prompt template, and we'll try to run it for Brad. So you'll see on the resolution side how much data it is, and that can kind of answer your question. Like it's not limited by. Yeah, and that was pretty fast. And if you see, that's a lot of data. It's a lot of data that we are passing to the LLM, and based on that, it's coming up with a score and a rating. Yeah, cool. If it does, we don't know, because everything is happening in like basically once you ground a prompt and you invoke a prompt, it's all a backhole for us. Like, all we can do is we can audit once. We can do an audit once it sends the response, like how it's generating the response, but what mechanism is generating the response, we don't know. Yeah, yeah. Good. Until there was a last first. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it can, but it is like we have given it some specific instruction. So it, yeah, 1 to 10 for contact. Mhm. Yeah, it can. It can.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it could be the next 5 seconds. It could be different.
Yeah.
That eight could be, let's say, 7.51, or it gets around to 8. But because next time we calculate,
No, but
to be 7.4,
yeah.
then it goes down to 7.
But
So
to his
the
point,
answer is not always the same.
Yeah.
Not always.
yeah, the answer is not always the same. And to your point, it's basically AI, so it can decide. It can decide to change, but you can play with some sort of parameters when you're invoking it. So if you want like you can pass it a temperature of 0, so it will always like apply a very strict logic, and it will always give you a similar rating.
Audit that can do how this way. How it is.
No, we can only audit what prompt it sent and what response it got.
What parameters you change to make a better response?
Yeah, that we can do, but that is more trial and error. It's not a audit based. Like you can run multiple transactions and look at what's getting you the rating that you think it's right, and then use those parameters. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, I'll show you. No, it's just calling the Einstein gateway or enabled method. So LWC, so I'll do the contact health score. So in the contact health score, I'm creating the prompt request. I'm giving it an input map, which is the contact ID. I'm saying call the template name, which is Dreamhouse contact health score summary, and I'm just calling that or enable method. And then I'm just processing the response that I'm getting. JSON parse. Yeah.
I said we have some LWC, by the way.
No, not yet. But thinking safe harbor. It's coming. It's coming. Okay. So yeah, I think that covers the demo. But a question? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I missed you.
So I have two questions. First
Yeah.
one, let's say I don't have this Einstein platform at all.
Yeah.
In my normal Salesforce org,
Yeah.
if I integrate Salesforce with either OpenAI APIs,
You
or
can. Nothing is stopping. Yeah.
the
but-
only difference would be the trust level.
Yeah, exactly. Like all of your data will be used for training. It will, if you're passing client data, it's now public. So, yeah.
And the second question, I am assuming this is now only limited to text generation, not
Mm.
voice, not image.
Yeah. Sorry? Yeah, that was standard features. Those are the use cases that have out of the box tools available. You're talking about this one, no? Yeah, so this is all out of the box. Call summary, sales emails. Yeah, they are all text based. And then nothing is voice or anything like, because even OpenAI is nothing is voice yet. There's other tools like 11 Labs and all that can do voice, but we haven't integrated it also. Yeah. Yeah, can you can try it. Yeah, but it's an understanding your text and then it's coming up with the mathematical formula. Like if you can tell it to do like a forecasting based on the opportunities. It will figure out from its original context and knowledge like how to do forecasting, and it will come up with a response. It won't tell you how it got with the response, but it will come up with a response. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. It can. Yep. You have to try it. Yeah, I won't say for certain how accurate it is because it's all based on how much training it has had. So for that's where the model builder actually comes in. If you want to do like something predictive, you can leverage Gen AI, but you're grounding it with like lots of your data, so it knows exactly for this input, like this is something that's a predicted value. Yeah. Data cloud is just like a CRM, like your data grounding. And for model builder, you're passing data sets. It can be CSV files also. It doesn't have to be data cloud. But we'll keep that for offline after. I'll just wrap up the call, then it's all Q&A.
Sorry, one
Oh.
last question.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Let's say my prompt has nothing to do with Salesforce data.
Okay.
Does it have all other functionality of ChatGPT? Like, let's say that if I ask some question related to presidential elections
Hmm.
inside
It-
Salesforce,
It will come up with the answer because so it knows about presidential election. Like it knows everything OpenAI knows.
Because it's calling opening.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. So depend on the model. If you're calling your homegrown model, it might not know. But if you're calling like an open model, yeah, you'll probably know.
I'm just asking because
Yeah.
I want to know if there is a restriction on what
No.
kind of prompt.
Its only restriction is it doesn't let your PII, PHI, personal data get outside because it masks it. And masking is just replacing it with something else. Like if you're sending like your name, it will just replace it with John Smith. Yeah. Yeah.
And also, maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Do you have a slide for the translator?
Yeah.
Looking for one particular box.
Okay.
When the response when it cleans the response, when it cleans the response on not the unmasking. No,
Demasking.
toxicity detector. So if you have something that is gonna be like really bad answer, like bias or maybe swearing or something. Toxicity
No,
detector
one thing
will
that
detect.
I want to show is like we can invoke all of this, like we can invoke prompt templates through REST API. So we have an endpoint available, Einstein prompt template, where you're invoking a prompt template through REST API. If you see in the REST API response, there is a toxicity score.
Yes.
So you can use all of this in your your custom workflows. If you want to show something, if you have a threshold, you can decide I can only take thresholds that are higher than 9.5 or something for safety score. So all of this is available even in your LWCs. So we can all of these responses
And Apex.
are there, and Apex, yeah. You're talking about the Copilot action? No. If there is, it's not published, so I don't think there will be. But you can check the documentation once it's available. It's not generally available. Okay, perfect. So quickly going back to wrap it up, and to your point, let me just send a prompt directly to LLM. We don't want to do that. Let me invoke a prompt template so I can use all the benefits of the Einstein trust layer. And all the Star Trek fans know who this is. Yes. So here are the resources if you want to quickly take a screenshot. So the GitHub repo will be there as well. All that prompt templates and should be available. And yeah, once again, thank you very much for coming. It was turned out to be a much more collaborative session. I see some people that are taking so. So yeah, hopefully it piqued your interest, and now you can take some of it back and embed Gen AI into your client's application. Slides are not there in the resource. Slides will be available on the talk once it's. Yeah, it's recorded. Yeah, now we can do some questions or networking. Cool. Yeah. No worries. I think there is more pizza in the back. So
property वाला example है ना,
हाँ.
you showed just one picture.
Yeah.
So उसमें we can have multiple pictures also, right?
Yeah.
तो वो सारी की सारी एक ही उसमें डालो, very basic, वो एक एक करके ऐसे.
हाँ, वो मैंने उसको बोला, मैंने उसको एक HTML दिया ऐसे कि प्रॉपर्टी ऐसी होनी चाहिए, टाइटल होना चाहिए, पिक्चर होना चाहिए, डिस्क्रिप्शन होना चाहिए. तो वो उसने लिया और वो बोला कि मैं अभी ऐसे ऐसे करके सारे प्रॉपर्टीज लिस्ट करता हूँ. तो मैंने सिर्फ उसको इंस्ट्रक्शन दिया. तो उसने
अभी जैसे वो उसमें you showed in the backend, I'll have to mention each and every picture for that particular property in that
You can
instruction.
drop off the badges if you're heading out.
Yeah, so एक एक